Sorry for the shakiness of the phone. So today I am next to my beautiful elderberry plant that has reached enormous heights. I got this plant as a cutting. It was actually on Amazon because I wanted to basically try to make my own elderberry syrup and keep my family safe and healthy during all the stuff that's happened within the last couple of years. And I thought I had lost them. I received a lot of cuttings, and out of maybe 12 cuttings, really only 2 took root, and that's this plant right here, and then I have another one back there that's doing okay, but it's about half the size. So today I'm going to be harvesting some elderberry flowers, which also have lots of medicinal purposes, and we're gonna try probably not to get these. You want to capture them when, so it's difficult because this one right here has flowers that are not ready to pick, it has flowers that are ready to pick, and some that have already been spent. So it's tricky. So you want to get them when they are ready. When you don't want to pick them when they're not opened, and you don't want to pick them when they're basically just have fallen already. You want to get that in between. So I'm gonna try and pick some of the in between stuff, because what you want to get is the pollen that's on them. And we're gonna dry them, and I'm gonna either make them into a tincture or a salve or a powder, something to have on hand. And I'm just gonna bring you guys along with me while we pick some elderberry flowers. Okay, so these are not ready. They're not ready. They have not even bloomed yet. And these right here, you can see how these have bloomed and fallen. These are not ready, but these are. So I'm gonna try and collect something like that. Now, elderberry can be toxic. It does have noxious fumes if you burn it. So don't burn it, especially not indoors. Silly, I know, but, and you do have toxins in the stem and the leaves. For the most part, what holds the flowers is pretty much considered safe. So I'm not really gonna use that in my tea or what I'm gonna keep, but I am gonna cut it so that I can harvest it, and then, let's see. Oh my goodness. I don't know if you guys can hear that or see it, but we are getting a little bit of a drizzle. Get this as much as possible. Elderberry flowers have a lot of properties. Okay. We're gonna cut this short because it's starting to drizzle a lot more heavily, and I don't want to mess up my phone. We'll get back to this. So I was trying to pick some of the elderberries, and it started to drizzle. So I'll try to do this again. But What I was trying to say is the elderberry flowers have a lot of properties in them, anti-inflammatory, and just good healing properties. You can make a tea out of it, or a salve, or a tincture. And again, I'm trying to harvest what's good and not spent. I have a little basket underneath me as I cut. So God's good, because stop the rain so I can go ahead and film this. Woo! Okay, not bad. And you could see that some of these have already been spent, and they're about to start creating our wonderful elderberries. You can see it because they've turned into these little green little pods. Those will eventually become our elderberries, where we get that yummy syrup from. That's very healing, very good for us. If I could describe the smell, first of all, these flowers are they're just beautiful. They're so beautiful. They're very white, but almost ivory in color, and their smell. So their smell is very much like what the name implies, as like a sambucas. And I remember seeing my grandmother drink an alcoholic beverage that she had to, I don't know, they lighted the rim or something of the cup, and it caught on fire. And I remember she would say, "Oh, this is sambuca," and funny enough, this is exactly what it smells like. The only way I could explain it would be like anise, like a star anise kind of smell. Not so much, but kind of like that. So they are they're gorgeous. I mean, they're very, very pretty. And it's really not 100% white. It has like a yellow tint to it, like an ivory color. And here you can see. So these are spent and perfect. That did not go as planned, but I did get some elderberry flowers. The conditions weren't right. It started to drizzle a few times. I tried to it just wasn't working to record. So I'm gonna go ahead and grab these elderberry flowers. I did my absolute best to get the ones that were the most ready, and I'm gonna go ahead and dry those. I could just kind of lay them somewhere kind of sunny and dry and have them covered so no bugs or flies get to it. But the truth is that we're in Florida and it's very humid, so I'm just going to go ahead and put it in my dehydrator, not for long, on probably the lowest setting possible, just to kind of dry these out. If I was making a tincture, I would probably use them fresh. I could, but I can still make a tincture out of them dry. I mean, it's not a super huge deal, but you know, you do get all the properties of the plant. You can do that in a tincture with it fresh. So I'm just gonna go ahead and dry them out, and then I'll show you guys what they look like, all nice and dried and laid out. So here they are, just so you can see how pretty they are. And they smell really good. They smell very, very sweet, very undertones of anise. So it's really beautiful. I forgot to say, make sure that you take all little bugs and spiders, and in my case, the little love bugs off your plant so that they don't die in the dehydrator or wherever you're gonna put them. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the elderberry flowers onto my dehydrator racks. Now, my racks are like this and they're pretty big holes, so that's not gonna work, especially with the pollen. So what I did was I went ahead and I put these little, it's like a silicone mat, and I'm gonna go ahead and use that to make sure that none of the pollen gets lost within the cracks. And I'm sure that, you know, there's still going to be something that falls through, but for the most part this should help in preventing the majority of it from falling through. And I mean, it felt on my bowl that I have a lot, but as I see it kind of go down in here, it doesn't feel like I have as many flowers as I could, I guess. I'll have to come out again and harvest some more as soon as I think that they're ready. But that's pretty much it. I'm just gonna go ahead and put, let's see, I'll move these around. Just make as much space as I can and dehydrate them for a few hours on a very, very, very low setting. I mean, whatever's the lowest, I think mine is, honestly, it's 90 something. I'm not sure exactly what it is, but I mean, and you can tell when you open it to check on them whether it's still wet. Like right now when I'm holding this, it feels like if I'm touching something that's has a lot of moisture. It's cool, it's moist. So I mean, you don't want to feel that. You want it to be dry, somewhat brittle. I mean, not to the point of where you can't use the herb. You don't want to burn it because then it loses a lot of its properties. But, you know, you do as much as you can with what you got and you try. And, you know, if it doesn't come out perfect this time, it's okay. You can try it again. You know, it's just a trial and error. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and put the elderberries, well, not the elderberries, the elderberry flowers onto my dehydrator, and I'm just gonna put it on whatever the heck that was. I'm gonna assume 95, 75, 65, 55. I'm going to put a little bit more because they seemed a bit moist. I'm going to put it on 95. And this one, unfortunately, does not have a timer or an auto stop. So I'm going to have to do my best to really watch it and there was a ton of spiders, in case anyone wanted to know. Teeny tiny little green spiders. Okay, so we had some mishaps with the rain and the sun and all the elements that were kind of all over the place, and last thing we did was put our elderberry flowers in the dehydrator. Now, I really wasn't sure what I was going to use them for, and I think I'm just going to make a tincture. Now, this is how they look like dehydrated. This is about all that I harvested. I didn't want to take too many since I really only have 2 elderberry trees, and oh wow, this smells really good. It really does have that anise flavor. Not flavor, scent. But it does kind of have that flavor too. So I just put one of these little silica gel packets just in case there was any moisture in here that I didn't take out while I was storing it. I would have probably just used fresh elderberry flowers to do this tincture, but I didn't. I dehydrated them. Again, I didn't know what I was going to use them for, and I honestly just saw them there and I felt that it was time to do something with them. So here we got a big stem here that I'm going to take off. Usually these little ones are safe, but they have some alkaloids in them, and we're just gonna avoid it this time around. And see, it wasn't really that much, but you never know. It's rather, safety first, and I'd rather be safe than sorry. So when doing a tincture, it really is extremely simple. You can be precise, you should be precise, and then there's also just kind of the folk way of doing things, which is just eyeballing things. But what you're going to need is a high proof alcohol. It doesn't matter what kind it is, as long as it's a really high proof. What I did was I just went to a local store that we have here, grocery store, Winn-Dixie to be precise, and I looked for vodkas, and they had a bunch of different kinds. You really want your minimum to be 80 proof, but I went ahead and I got 100 proof. The reason I got 100 proof is because the math is going to be really simple here. Basically, 100 proof means that this is 50% alcohol, 50% water, which will make when you drink your tinctures just a lot easier to know kind of what's in them. So the higher the proof, the better. It also helps to extract all that good stuff from the plants and herbs that you're using to tincture. And a lot of people leave them for different times. I feel that the stronger the alcohol content, got some more stems here. The stronger the alcohol content, the less time really you need to leave it in there. It just does a really good job at extracting everything. But it's up to you. For safety, for me, just for my own mind, knowing that it did the job, I usually leave my tinctures in for 3 to 4 weeks. And again, it all depends on, what type of alcohol am I using, what's the proof, are they fresh, are they dried? But even with that being said, fresh or dried, I usually keep them for 3 to 4 weeks, and that does a really good job. So what we're gonna do now is, I guess it doesn't really matter, but I'm just making sure that everything is good and I don't have any very large stems in here. Little ones are okay. So we're gonna grab our 100% proof vodka. Sometimes I use organic vodka, but the amounts are just it doesn't bring a lot a lot in a bottle. And this one was, how many ounces is this? I don't really see where it has the ounces. I'll figure it out and say it in a little bit, but I don't see it. I'm sure it's on here somewhere. This one's actually made in Florida. Cool. So 100% neutral spirits distilled from grains, 50% alcohol by volume, 100 proof. So we're gonna go ahead and fill until it covers completely. And This is really good. It came all the way to the top, and you can kind of just push it down a little bit. It'll go down now on its own. The alcohol really does a good job at controlling any type of bacteria or anything like that. Like if we were making, what's the word? It'll come back to me. If we were making this, let's say with honey, basically it would start to ferment. And the minute that you add alcohol to it, it will stop the fermentation process. It wasn't cordials, what is that? It's not a tincture. I don't remember. If I remember, I'll write it down. But I've shaken it. It looks really good. You can kind of see it's nice and yellow. And again, I'm gonna leave this for about a month, 3 to 4 weeks. And when I see it, I'm just gonna give it a good shake. Make sure everything gets nice and saturated with the vodka. And I'm just gonna set it aside somewhere dark. Once those 4 weeks are up, what I'm going to do is I'm gonna strain it into just a small metal or plastic strainer, whatever you got. And you're gonna take that liquid and you're going to bottle it into just little dropper bottles. And then you take it as you need it. There's many benefits. It's immune boosting. Also helps with when you are sick and you kind of don't have you don't have like that sweaty fever going on. Kind of helps you with that. It can be a very mild laxative, but all those good properties are going to get extracted. And ideally, if I would do this again, which I will, I'll take you along. We'll cut some more. I'll probably tincture this fresh. So the most important thing you could do is label it. Very important. Label what it is, what you used, and the date. That way you know you just have everything that you want to know what you did. You don't want to forget about this. And sometimes I've been really guilty of that, where I say, oh, I know that this is marshmallow or whatever, and I'll get back to it, and by that time it's just a green mush, and you're like, wait a second, what is that? What did I put in here? When did I do it? So it's really important for you to label it and date it, and that way hey, did you like it? Did you not like it? Was there something wrong with the batch, etc. So I think this is really beautiful. It has a really nice smell to it. I think it's gonna do great. This is about 4 ounces in here. Maybe more than that. Maybe 4 to 8 ounces. I'm not sure. I'll have to measure it out later. Probably 4. But this should give you, if you're using 1 ounce bottles, it'll give you 4 bottles. If you're using 2 ounce bottles, it'll give you 2. And with tinctures, it's really important for you to kind of it's a trial and error. They all have different labels, but when you're doing it yourself, you want to start off with just 1 or 2 drops just to see how that kind of affects you. I mean, it's really strong. You're extracting all the medicinal properties of the plant that you're trying to use. And of course, I'm not a doctor, but it is strong. You may think that it's not, but it is. And just start with 1 or 2 drops, see how it works, how it does for you, and you can always up it until you reach what it is that you're looking for, medicinal wise. And you can easily sweeten this if you're going to be giving it to somebody who doesn't want the alcohol. And a lot of the times people ask me, do you have to use alcohol to extract? And the answer is no. You don't have to use alcohol. You can use glycerin, but even with glycerin, you're also adding some water to it, or you can use apple cider vinegar. It really all depends. Some people do not consume alcohol, so in that case I would suggest that maybe some apple cider vinegar, maybe a vegetable glycerin, and I'll try to add maybe a link or a video to that. But really the amount of alcohol that you are ingesting is just so small that it's not really going to make a huge difference or anything like that. I don't think it will. But again, for religious reasons or personal convictions that you don't consume alcohol, then there are definite ways to do this. And apple cider vinegar works really well, and so does glycerin. So I know that with apple cider vinegar, it's pretty much the same concept,
with glycerin it's a little different, so I'd have to really research it a little bit more before I say anything. I don't want to give you guys the wrong information, but there are plenty of books out there that you can go ahead and find, and I mean, the older the book the better, because it's so more simplistic. I'll leave any books down there that I have. Sorry guys, I am in the middle of having puppies, and they're getting big and they are getting feisty. They're ready to go to their forever homes. So yeah, that's that. I'll go ahead and take you guys on the process, and in 4 weeks we'll go ahead and we'll bottle it up. You can, I mean, this is literally medicine for your family, and it's so simple to do. You can absolutely do this. I mean, elderberries grow all over the place, along the roadsides, you know, anywhere you could get them. You can get cuttings. I got mine through cuttings on Amazon, and they're doing really, really, really well. They're beautiful. They're really just beautiful, and they smell divine. And of course, it's not, you know, it's not roses, but they smell great. They smell really good, and they're beneficial. So I think it's important for you to, you know, it's an easy plant to grow, and it's medicinal, it's beautiful. You can arrange it as flowers, whatever you like. Just make sure you get all little bugs out. But here you have it. This is elder flower tincture. I hope you guys give this a try. And remember, you can do it. It's extremely simple, easy, and it's really not that expensive other than your alcohol. And this alcohol actually was pretty inexpensive. It smelled pretty, it really didn't have too much of a huge smell. And I think this was probably maybe $15, something like that. And again, I cannot believe that this does not say how many ounces it is. I'm gonna assume that this is maybe 32 ounces, I think, but it's not bad. And I've heard that if you contact the actual makers, you can probably get a deal with them and get it for even less. And probably, I should probably do that. I should call somebody. Probably look for some organic vodka that we could use. Again, I mean, I think just give it a go. It's good. It's good for you. It's medicinal, beautiful, and you have an array of arsenals at your disposal for when you're not feeling good, whether it's cough or, you know, the flu or any other viruses going around. It's just good for you. So if you can keep your immune system up, your body's able and capable of fighting certain things off. So I hope you guys give this a try. Elderberry tincture. I hope you like it, and just if you like it, please click like and share, subscribe if you haven't, and we thank you so much for joining us here about Wood Farm. God bless you. Guys, I remembered it was an elixir. An elixir is when you get your herbs and honey. That's an elixir, okay? And then you add your alcohol to it. That was the word I was looking for, and I couldn't find it. Elixir.